Will he continue to pull it off? That's the question. He's been fined more than $540 million recently in the past week, and these things are continuing to build. Look, there has been the sugar hits along the way, but at some point, will it start to sting?
I think certainly the legal consequences may be catching up with him in the current fines. It doesn't look like he will be able to avoid those things for much longer. But I think as far as voters are concerned, they're going to continue to support him in the Republican Party. I've seen no evidence yet that any of these indictments or legal troubles are costing him voters. In fact, as those indictments started rolling in over the last year, he's actually improved his support among Republicans. And so unless he were actually convicted in one of the federal trials rather than these state trials, I think he's probably going to continue plowing straight on through to the nomination.
Joe Biden says he's going nowhere. He's very much on the front foot. How will Biden-Trump rematch go?
It is not something that most of us in the United States are looking forward to, and yet it does seem to be where we're headed. I think Biden's going to focus on a couple of things. I think, one, he will continue to make Trump himself part of the campaign message, and particularly the concerns about Trump's threats to democracy in the wake of his rejection of the last election outcome. I think that Biden's also going to lean in on some issues that Democrats do well on right now. I think he's also going to focus a lot on some of the foreign policy questions. There's such a stark difference right now between what a Biden presidency and a Trump presidency would look like for our neighbors around the world and our allies around the world. And I think Biden's going to try to use that to sway some independents and even some Republicans.
His age and frailty, often a criticism, but you'd be a brave person to underestimate him. He's a very cunning and clear political operative, isn't he, Joe Biden?
He is. Biden manages to keep coming back. Every time someone counts him out, he manages to find a way to get the victory. And I would not count him out. I think the media have been focused on his age, but it's partly because there are no real scandals to focus on with Joe Biden. So they're using that as sort of the negative attack on him.
Yeah, and of course, he's just announced more sanctions on Russia after the untimely death of Alexei Navalny.
Yes, he has announced those sanctions. It looks like they're going to try to focus on the supply lines to Russia's military and industrial operations. Unfortunately, sanctions often take a while to kick in, and sometimes countries are able to find ways to adapt around them. So we'll see how significant that actually turns out to be.
And of course, time's going to beat us, Dr. Danielle Vinson, but Taylor Swift is playing in Australia at the moment, and we can all see why Joe Biden is desperate for her to endorse his campaign.